Good afternoon to everybody. I am Padma Doraiswamy and a biology teacher. So today I am going to discuss about the previous chapter, that is the reproduction in organisms. So I have already discussed last class. There was means first the definition of reproduction. Then second one I have discussed about the importance of reproduction, and then there was a basic features of reproduction. Then there was a types of reproduction and its methods. In that first one I have already discussed about the asexual reproduction and its types also. But today I am going to discuss about the vegetative reproduction, or you can say propagation. And then we will go to the sexual reproduction. So today I am going to discuss about the vegetative reproduction or the propagation. So first I am going to tell you about the vegetative reproduction. Vegetative reproduction is the mode of reproduction in which the vegetative part of the plant, such as leaf is there, then root is there, stem is there, they are giving the propagules. That one is developed into a new one. So this one is the vegetative reproduction. So we will see the types of vegetative reproduction. Types of vegetative reproduction. There are two types of vegetative reproduction. One is the natural vegetative reproduction. Another one is the artificial vegetative reproduction. So first one is the natural reproductive. That is means what? If we are going to take this one, the natural vegetative reproduction, then it is also a mode of reproduction in which the vegetative part of the plant, such as means the root, stem or leaf, they are having a adventitious bud, and that bud develop into a new plant. That is called means what? Natural vegetative reproduction, or it is means what? Separated from the parent plant when it gets the maturity. Now we will see that natural vegetative propagation, there is means what? The propagation by root. Propagation by root. So this one is the first one. If you take the example, like if you take the example of sweet potato, which is comes in a tuber only, or otherwise you take the example of dahlia. Okay, these two examples I am giving. Sweet potato is what? It is already like this. The potato is there. Then there are what? The small birds are there. These birds are called the adventitious birds. And then there is what? From the adventitious bird only there is what? A new plant is coming out. Okay. So, this one is the new plant, which is already means developing from the root. Same thing is in dahlia also. If you are going to take this ones are the new plants which are coming from the birds. Okay. So, this one are means what? The examples of the propagation through the roots. Now, second one we will go to the propagation by stem. Number 2, propagation by stems. Okay. So, here if you are going to take the stem, then comes there is what? The first one we will say that underground modified stem. Okay. So, in that if I am going to take the first one, then comes there the rhizome. Example for ginger is there. Okay. Then another one if you are going to take the sucker, that is the example for mint. Then there comes the tuber, which is the potato. Then comes the corms. There comes colchicea. Okay. And then there one more is the bulb, in which we take the onion. Now, if you are going to take the rhizome, there is what? The rhizome is like this, the ginger. There is what? Already present the nodes and the internodes. Okay. From here only the new birds are coming out, and these birds only what? Giving rise to a new plant. Okay. So, this one as means what? The examples of the underground modified stems. Now, second one we will take the creeping stem. Creeping stem. In that the first example is the runners, which we take the grass. Okay. Second one if you are taking then the stolon, that is strawberry. And third one if you want to take, then there is what? Offset. We can take pistia. So, these are means what? The creeping stem only. As you take the example of grass only, you will find the grass is having the if this one is the grass, you will find this one is the runner only, and this one is the roots. This stem, this runner only means what? Developing into a new grass. Okay. So, these are means what? The examples of the creeping stem. Now, third one we are going to take, that is aerial stem. Example for here, opuntia. This opuntia is what? It means have a phylloclade. Okay. In that, these are the phylloclades having a small leaves are there. So, this one as the aerial stem is there. Then next go to the propagation by leaves. By leaves, if you are going to take one of the example, that is bryophyllum. Okay. These bryophyllum is what? It is a succulent leaf like structure only, like this. In each notch there is what? One adventitious bird is there. These are the birds. This leaf, when it is attached to the parent plant, when matured, that is falling down on the ground only, and after that this one is means what? This bird or this leaf come in touch with the soil, and then all these birds are growing into a new plants. That is means what? Propagation by leaves, that is in the bryophyllum. Then fourth one comes propagation by bulbils. Here is some of means what? The fleshy birds which take part in vegetative propagation. As you are going to take the example, that is agave. Okay. Agave is like this one. This one is means the flashy one only, agave, which is means what? Giving propagation or is developing into a new plant. Then there comes the taurines. Okay. This one is especially found in the aquatic plants. There is already the fleshy bird is there, which is already developed into a new plant. So, here we have gone to the natural vegetative propagation. Now, we will see the artificial vegetative propagation. Artificial vegetative propagation. This is a man-made technique only which is used for propagating the new plants, such as there are the techniques which we are using. Number one is the cutting. Cutting is there. Then second one is the layering, and third one is the grafting, and fourth is the micro propagation. So in cuttings means what? Whatever means the piece of you can take the stem or the root or the leaves, we can take and put it into the soil or plant into the soil, then we will get the new plant as means of the parents one only. That process is called the cutting. But as we have to take care of this one, that the node portion which is means downward in the parent plant, that should be downward in the soil, and the upper ones, that one is the newer one, that one only give rise to the new plants. So this is one of the, say, as means you can take the example of sugarcane, then lemon, then rose is there. While doing all these things, because it's a man-made technique, so what we are using some of the chemical hormones also, like IAA, then IBA and NAA. Okay, before planting this cuttings, we should means what? Keep them in this types of chemicals only, and then planting into the soil, then we are getting a very quick result of this one. Another one comes the grafting, layering. Okay, second one is the layering is there. So layering is means what? When you are having a one type of plant which is having a means the branches which we cannot means make it for growing from the other things. So what we have to do? We have means what? Just bending the plant branch or the stem which is flexible just into the soil that is near to the ground, and there means we put some water and some soil. So that portion, that node portion will be means developing the root, and that when it is means fully fledged roots are developed, then we are means what? Making separate from the parent plants. So layering is of two type. One is the mound layering, or we can say it ground layering. Second one is the air layering, or we can say it gutti. Okay. Now in mound layering, if you are going to take the lemon or anything that can be means planted and get a new plant, that time if this one is the lemon, the branches came out like this one. So what? We have just bent this one into the soil that is touching it. Just means what thing? Dig some soil portion, and then here is what? The new bud will be there. Okay. Put it here some soil, some water, and then keep it for a 2-3 weeks. You will find there is what? Already at the place of nodes there are some new roots are developed, and these roots only developing, that is why we are means what, taking this portion and planting it at a new place where they will get the comfortable environment. This one is the mound layering. Okay. So, we put sometimes the straw also, sometimes mosses also there, or sometimes we put the cow dungs and the clay also. So, get the better result. But in air layering there is something which is means what, that branches are or the shoot system that is not near to the ground level. That is why what we are doing, just means if this one is the plant, this one is the branch, here we just removed the some portion of the bark, and then here we are just means applying some clay and some chemical hormones also, and then tying it with the some straw with the polythene. So, what thing has happened already, means here it is getting the straw also and the moistures also. So, there is already means what, the roots are developing. When the roots are developing, that time we cut this portion and plant this portion into the soil. So, this is the portion of means what, that layering. Now, go to the grafting. Grafting is the another method of the reproduction, which is means the man-made technique. Grafting. Here is we take the two plants, one is the stalk and another one is the scion. Okay. So, stalk is means what, it is the having very good root system. So, root system means what, it is means taking less water and it can stay in a very tough conditions, but some of the portion of the stem will be out of the ground only, and then there is what, we take the another portion, that is the scion. This one is the stalk, another one is the scion. Okay. These two things we are taking, as means what, this one is already means what, having the very good development of the root system, but this one is having what thing, not good root system, but having the fruits and flowers of very good variety. So, we can get the desired quality of the plant from this grafting. So, if we are going to take the grafting, there are different types of grafting. One is the tongue grafting, another one is the wedge grafting, then third one is the crown grafting, fourth one is the bud grafting. So, different types of grafting is there. Tongue grafting is what? If this one is the stalk should be cut in a oblique way like this, and there is only the upper portion with the desirable one, it is also like a oblique one only, which is means the scion. Then means what? This one is, we called it a tongue grafting. Okay. Next one is the wedge grafting. In that the stalk is having V cut and the upper one, that scion, is having the wedge cut. When these two are fixing together, that time we have to tie them with a bandage or some other material. So, there is what? The cambiums of the both plant can be mixed up with each other. So, there is what? The vascular tissues should be meet with each other, and then only what? We will get the desirable qualities of the flowers and the fruits. Now, crown one is what? The stalk should be have the broader base like this, and here is what? We make a cutting here. As you take the V cutting, like this also you can take. So, here is what? This one is the scion, and then means what? Just means put the scion here, one here, another one you can put here, third one if here. So, what? Multi means the scion you can put here and you form a crown grafting. Another one is the bud grafting. In that, just make a one slit on the stalk, and there is what? Already you have taken the bud from the another one, just fixed it in this one. So, what thing is there? You have taken out the bark, and here also you have removed the bark, and that bud is means what? Just placed in this one, and there is means what? The cambium of the bud is means mix up with the cambium of the stalk. So, this one is what? Already you have bind it with some bandage like structure or something. That is means what? Mixing the bud with the stalk, and then what thing is here? That already the new plant is coming out. Now, last one is means what? The micro propagation is there. Fourth one in artificial, that is micro propagation. It you can say that the tissue culture. Tissue culture. Here we take the any cell or any tissue of the branch of any desirable plant. As means we take the meristematic tissue at the tip of the branch and just put it into the solution, that is the sterile agar nutrient solution. In that, if you are going to put the meristematic tissue for some times, and there you should apply some chemical hormones also, then there is what? The growth of the tissue will take place, and the tissue is means what? Grow into a plantlet, and this plantlet after some time is means changed into another compost, means the fertile compost. Fertile compost. There already means what? The plantlet is becoming big only, and when the suitable condition comes, that time we are means already shifting them into the soil for the growth. So, these are means what? The types of vegetative reproduction. There we have studied about the natural one and the artificial one. So, here only we finish the vegetative propagation, that is means the artificial one and the natural one and their methods and the types. Now, we will discuss about the sexual reproduction. Sexual reproduction. So, it is the process in which the reproduction takes place by the union of two different gametes, that is the male gamete and the female gamete. They both reproduce and after that they form the zygote. So, if we are going to take the sexual reproduction, then there are two types of sexual reproduction. One is the conjugation, another one is the syngamy. In conjugation, we take the example of Spirogyra. Here is already in the previous class also I have discussed about the conjugation in Spirogyra. So, here is what the process of fusion between the two isogametes takes place of the same species, then only what we can say that the conjugation is there. If you take the example of the Spirogyra, this one is the filaments, okay, of Spirogyra. Then another one means what? We said that the another filament of the Spirogyra is there. These two isogametes, they come close together and after that means what? They form the protrusion. Protrusion then means what? It forms the bridge between the both the filaments. As the one cell, like if you are going to take this cell only, here is what? Conjugation tubes are formed. In between that only what thing has happened? The material which is in the cell only, that one is already been shifted into one of the cell and then it forms the zygospore. It rests for some times and after that it forms into a new organism, or you can say the plant, or as you can say the filament. So, this one is what? Conjugation in the Spirogyra. Now, go to the syngamy. Syngamy is what? The fusion of the two gametes, that is the male and the female gamete, and the formation of the zygote is there. So, this one is comes in a higher categories of plants and animals. Now, if you are going to take according to the structure of fusing gamete, syngamy is of 4 types, that is 4 types. One is the isogamy, number 2 is the N-isogamy. Third one is the oogamy, and fourth one is the hologamy. Now first one is the isogamy. In isogamy, these gametes are morphological, identical and equal in size. So what we are getting, that identical and equal in size. These two isogametes, they fuse together and form the zygote. If you are taking the example of Chlamydomonas, these are the gametes. Okay. Now if the gametes are there, they are forming the gametes. These gametes are of equal size. Equal size gametes. When they fuse together, and they formed one of the, that is zygote. They are identical in shape. You can say that the microgametes also, which are means small in size. But if you are going to take this one N-isogamy, they are non-identical and unequal in size. That means one is the smaller one which is having the flagella, and another one is means what, having the bigger one, it is also having the flagella. If you are going to take this one, that means this one also example of Chlamydomonas. Microgametes. And which are big in size, they are called macrogametes. When they are producing, one is having the bigger one, another one is the smaller one. These one also, when fused together, so again it is forming, because what thing is there, one is the smaller, another one is the larger in size. So this one is also formed the so here we can say that this one is the N-isogamy. Now go to the oogamy. In this, there is a fusion of the two gametes, that are means what, heterogametes only we can say. One is the smaller motile and another one is the larger, that is non-motile. In this one we can say that the male gamete, and here we can say the female gamete. As if this one is the, you will take in Chlamydomonas only, if you are going to take these are the male gametes. This one is the ovum. You can say the female. Okay. When these gametes are comes out, it is motile, that is why it is having the flagella, and this one is the immotile, that is why it is means what, that not having any locomotion thing. When this comes, again it forms the zygote. So these are means what, that oogamy. Now comes the hologamy, when two organisms act as a gamete. Two organisms acts as a gametes and fuse together, then we call it a hologamy. That is an example of, you can take yeast. So here we have seen that the sexual reproduction, that is of the two type, one is the conjugation and another one is the syngamy. That syngamy is having the four type, that is the isogamy, which is having the identical and equal size in gametes. Another one is the anisogamy, that is non-identical and unequal in size. And oogamy, that is one is means the smaller and the motile, which we called it a male gamete, and the larger one which is non-motile, that is the female gamete, that is in the oogamy. And hologamy is that the two organisms which act as a gamete and fuse with each other, that is example in the yeast. Now, according to the fusings of the sources of fusing of gametes, syngamy is of two type. One is the sources of fusing of gametes. So, one is endogamy and number two is exogamy. In endogamy is means what? The fusion of the male and female gamete of the same parent, that is means the uniparental is there, same parent, uniparent. That means both the gamete is present in the one parent only. that there is what endogamy is taking place, which is inside of the body, and exogamy is that here is different parents that is biparental. As this one, if you are going to take the example, that is the tapeworm, and this one you can take anything like rabbit also you can take. So, here is what the endogamy, which is means of the sources of fusing of the gamete. Depending upon the sources of fusing of gamete, the endogamy is of means what the same parents are there, in that only the gametes are formed, and that is why they called it a uniparental only, and there is the fusion of taking place. Exogamy is what there are the different parents, that is the two parents are needed. Example for there is the rabbit is there. Now, different events of sexual reproduction. Different events of sexual reproduction. Okay. In this one, first we take the pre-fertilization. Pre-fertilization. In this pre-fertilization, there is means what the two processes are coming. One is the gamete formation, and number 2 is the gamete transfer. So, here is what the male and the female gametes are formed, that is means the male is producing the male gamete. As you take the example of the human being only, there is what the sperms are produced, and in female there is the egg, that is the ovum are produced. So, here is what the formation of the male and the female gamete is taking place. Now, gamete transfer means what? There is already means what? The gamete which is formed from the male and the female organism, that is coming close together, that we called it a gamete transfer. B1 is the fertilization. When this gametes formation is taking place, there is means what? Again the transfer of gamete is taking place. That means what? The fusion of the gametes are there. When the fusions of gametes are there, that means what? There is formed the zygote. So, this process is called means what? The fertilization, that is the union of male and female gamete which result in a zygote. C comes the post fertilization. Okay. So, in post fertilization there comes the cell division, and cell differentiation. That we called it a zygote formation another one is the embryogenesis. So, when there is a embryogenesis is taking place and the post fertilization, then what thing? Due to the cell division, that is the mitotic cell division is taking place, and due to that only there is a multiplication of the cells are becoming, that forms means what? That zygote, that is 2n, it will means again multiply, and then there is a cell differentiation will come. Cell differentiation means what? The cell will differentiate and then it forms the tissue, and then the tissue forms the organ, and organ form the organisms. So, that one we called it a embryogenesis. Now, if you are going to take the fertilization, then fertilizations are of 4 types. Types of fertilization. Number 1 is the internal fertilization. Internal fertilization. Number 2 is the external fertilization. Number 3 is the self fertilization. And number 4 is the cross fertilization. So, these are means what? The type of fertilization which takes place in the organism. If you are going to take the internal fertilization, that is means what? The fertilization of the male and female gamete take inside the body of a female. The sperm is entered into the female body through the male sex organ. Okay. And external is means what? This one you can take any means the mammal categories like human beings are there, then cows, all that you can take in internal fertilization. But external fertilization, that is means mostly in aquatic animals only, like means the fishes are there, frogs are there. Here is means the female is laying the egg in the water and the male is also depositing the sperm in the water. Then there is what? The male is a very motile gamete. So, they were travelling into the water and just fusing to the eggs, and there is what? The fertilization is taking outside. Now, self fertilization is that in which means what? That male and female gametes are taking place within the same individual, means both the male and the female gametes are in the one parent only, you can say. That is called means what? The self fertilization. And cross fertilization is that there is means what? The different individuals having the gametes and that gametes fuse with each other, then there is a cross fertilization is taking place. So, according to the embryogenesis, animals are divided into 3 categories, because we have already studied about the embryogenesis. No, that is means the post fertilization. In that post fertilization, if you are going to take, that is the embryogenesis. So, in according to the embryogenesis, that we are having the 3 categories of animal. Three categories of animals. First one is the oviparous, second one is the ova viviparous, and third one is the viviparous. So, oviparous is what? The development of the embryo is taking outside the body of the some animals. As you have seen that there are the birds are there, amphibians, reptiles are there. There is already means what? The fertilization is taking outside only, means the embryo is developing outside. Fertilization already taken place inside, but